Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan, and today I've got a little bit of a special treat for you because I'm going to be rating other YouTubers' first FPL drafts. Now, I saw a couple of other people making videos on rating their viewers' drafts, sort of thing, so going through all of their drafts of their viewers and rating them and sort of making some comments about them. And I thought, you know, I'd flip it on its head and rate the teams of the people that I view. So it's like the complete opposite, sort of as a celebration of you know, YouTube and what YouTube has done for me in the past sort of couple of weeks. It's just been amazing. So I'm really happy to be part of the growing gang of FPL YouTubers. So let's go through the teams and rate them. Basically, I'm a little bit nervous about this video because I don't want to annoy anyone by rating their team badly, but I do want to be honest at the same time. But you've got to take into consideration, first of all, this is just my personal opinion on these teams. Everyone manages their team slightly differently and has different ideas and different tactics that I might not necessarily know about. So all I can judge is by how I rate the team personally. Also, these teams are very much drafts. These teams are going to change so much in the next couple of weeks. So I guess take this with a pinch of salt. All of the people featured in this video are all excellent FPL managers in their own right. And that's why they've all got far more subscribers and viewers than me and all that. So yeah, let's go through all of them. And hopefully you'll recognise a few names in there if you kind of watch FPL YouTube. So yeah, let's kick it off. Let's kick it off with the big one. The big boy himself, FPL Tips. Number one, FPL YouTuber, 150,000 subscribers. It's madness, really, that an FPL channel can get that much attention. It's crazy. I love it. So yeah, here's his team. McCarthy in goal, love it. Nice cheap goalkeeper. Trent Alexander-Arnold, a real solid choice. I mean, yeah, you've got to have him. Salah and Aubameyang, absolutely love it. You've got to have both of those players. Mitrovic seems awesome. But there are some concerns here that I have to concede that I have. Ender Stevens, I don't really like. He's 5.5 million for a Sheffield United defender. That seems a little bit much to me. When the Sheffield United defenders were sort of 4.5 million, 5 million, it was kind of all right as well. Sheffield United's first season in the Premier League. I do worry that now they're in their second season, they're going to get some sort of second season syndrome where they don't do as well as they did in their first season. Now the Premier League clubs have sort of figured out how their defence works. We already saw them slightly sort of conceding a few more goals towards the end of last season. I'm not expecting them to have the same like insane clean sheet records this season, so therefore I'm not really convinced by Ender Stevens at all, especially at that price. I think you could get a lot more and for a less price as well, so you could save a lot of money there. I also don't like that this is sort of stuck in the 4-3-3 formation. So on the bench there, you can see that there's two midfielders, and they're both 4.5 million midfielders, so they're rock bottom midfielders. So the only real bench option there is Dallas. Oriol Romeu, Stevens, neither of them are going to score any points at all, really. They're just sort of tick along with 2 points a game kind of thing. So they're not going to do anything, and it's not like you have any versatility to change the formation or anything like that. If FPL Tips did want to change his formation, he'd have to make two transfers. Say he wanted to sort of get someone else in midfield. He wanted to get Bruno Fernandes or something like that, or KDB in a couple of game weeks' time. He's going to have to make two transfers just to do that one thing, and which sort of seems it's quite a lot. He's wasting an extra transfer, and I don't really like that. You're sort of stuck in 4-3-3, which as a formation I'm not massively keen on, particularly in game week 1 where there's usually quite a few goals. Also, Maddison. A few teams in this list have Maddison, and I don't get why people are picking Maddison other than just to be a placeholder, just to bring in Greenwood or someone when Manchester United start playing. That probably is the reason. But just because he's playing West Brom doesn't make Maddison suddenly a great option. Remember, Maddison hasn't got a single goal contribution since the 1st of January. That's like well over 6 months. That's like 8-9 months ago. It's been that long since he's got a goal contribution, and people say, "Oh yeah, he was injured though." He was only injured for 5 games since that time. So yeah, I'm not really buying it. I don't really rate Maddison. I think you just go for Harvey Barnes if you're going to go for a Leicester midfielder and you want to capitalise on that West Brom fixture. Same price. But yeah, we won't dwell on this team too much. Generally speaking, I quite like it, so I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. But I just don't like how it's forced into 4 at the back, and I don't like Maddison either. But the rest of it, actually looking really, really strong. So 7 out of 10 for that one. Next up, FPL TV. He's gone for Ryan in goal instead, so another 4.5 goalkeeper there, which is awesome as well. You've got your Alexander-Arnold, your Aubameyang, your Salah, the classic guys. But what you'll notice about this team, which is the concern in this team, is that Martial and Greenwood are wasting away on the bench. Obviously, they don't play in game week 1. Neither does Taylor on the bench there as well, who I don't think is a bad pick at all, really. But Martial and Greenwood, it just feels like there's so much money wasted on the bench there that the FPL TV, Brett, has hardly been able to form a decent starting 11 for game week 1, which means he's going to take such a penalty going into game week 1. He might be sort of 20 points down from all of his rivals, and he's suddenly trying to claw it back into game week 2. Just for the sake of one extra transfer saved, which I don't really think is worth it. So you sort of Ferguson, not even going to be playing in game week 1. Stevens, I mean, I don't really understand a scenario where you could possibly want to play Stevens. I'd rather spend an extra transfer, put sort of, I don't know, sort of like Ziyech or someone in there, or Son or someone, and then make the transfer to Greenwood afterwards or something like that and save your money. Or if you wanted to maybe change Mitrovic change Martial to I guess a Harry Kane. You could do Martial to Harry Kane and then switch it back for next game week. Spend the extra transfer, take the -4, and then not play Stevens, and then you'll gain more points by doing that than you would do by benching Martial in the first game week. So yeah, that's my big concern there, and for that reason I could only give this team a 5 out of 10. I also don't like Saka as well. Is Saka guaranteed to play? I don't think he is. I saw Willian and Pepe first on the team sheet in terms of wingers. Saka's not going to play left back anymore. Now Tierney is looking really good and fit. Does Saka possibly play in midfield? I mean, maybe. But yeah, I think there's better options at 5.5 million there. And overall, I feel like this team is it's because so much money is on the bench, you're sort of trying to squeeze a team out of the remaining money, and it's not quite working. So yeah, it looks pretty average to me. So 5 out of 10. Sorry, FPL TV. Next up, let's talk FPL. If I can even say these words, but yeah, I really like this team. Actually, I really like this team. It's not perfect. No team is perfect. My team's not perfect, for God's sake. I'd probably only give my team like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. And it's my team. But yeah, once again, you've got your 4.5 million keeper, very nice. Trent Alexander-Arnold, lovely. Salah and Aubameyang, I like, because I think they're going to be the top scoring players in game week 1. I think you pretty much have to have those guys. Vardy, which is a kind of interesting choice against West Brom, trying to take advantage of that really good, nice fixture. Werner I like, Mitrovic I like, Alan Saint-Maximin, I like Armstrong. There's 2 really cheap midfielders in there with 2 more expensive midfielders. So I don't know. Again, it's sort of 2 transfers to try and move the money from your forwards into midfield if you want to bring in a Bruno Fernandes or a KDB. But maybe Aubameyang comes out for one of them, but then maybe you want another one, and that's where you've got to spend an extra transfer to get all the way there, which I'm not quite keen on. I do like the double Wolves defence though. I'm not really seeing very many people do double Wolves defence, and they have got a really nice run of fixtures, and they've got a really good defence as well. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see how that gets on. And there's options on the bench as well. Justin on the bench there, I think he could potentially come on. I'm not sure who for, but yeah, he's a really good option as well. So yeah, a pretty strong team, and a 9 out of 10 I'm going to give this one. So yeah, I like this one. Andy, let's talk FPL. Nice one. Next up, Davey FPL, my favourite South African FPL player, and probably the best South African FPL player as well. So he's gone a little bit differently in goal. So you can see here he's got Ramsdale, who's a 5 million goalkeeper rather than your classic 4.5 million McCarthy or Ryan. So you spend a little bit more. Again, like I said before, I'm not fully keen on the Sheffield United defence, and I was saving this point for looking at this team. I think a big part of Sheffield United's defensive success was Dean Henderson in goal, and now they haven't got Dean Henderson in goal. I'm yet to be convinced that Ramsdale is an equivalent. So I know Ramsdale is a good goalkeeper, but is he as good as Dean Henderson? I'm not sure. So maybe that's going to mean they're going to concede a few more goals. And I feel just as comfortable with a 4.5 million goalkeeper over the season. I imagine that a McCarthy will score around the same points as Ramsdale. So I'd rather just go straight for Ramsdale, just because of that very fact, and save that 0.5. But he does have Kyle Walker-Peters, for the Southampton defence. So it's good that he's got that covered, and I like that. Vinagre again. Willian is the other standout player in this team. Other than that, it looks good, doesn't it? It looks like a good team, really. But Willian is the other standout man who I'm sort of thinking, as an Arsenal fan, is Willian going to start, first of all? I mean, if we're talking Pepe, Saka and Willian, one of them's got to be benched, haven't they? And which means one of us, if you've chosen Willian or Saka, one of you's going to have it wrong unless Pepe gets dropped and everyone gets it right. But you know, Willian, he got a lot of his points last season from winning or taking free kicks and penalties. I don't think he's going to be on free kicks and penalties for Arsenal. He's also a lot more expensive and playing for a worse team as well. So, and this is coming from an Arsenal fan. Maybe it's because I'm a pessimistic Arsenal fan that I'm not so keen on Willian. But as an FPL asset, I think whilst he was taking free kicks and penalties and playing every game for Chelsea, that was fantastic. But now now I'm not 100% sure he's going to be playing every game. Now I don't think he's going to be touching free kicks, corners, penalties, anything like that. So where does he get his points from is what I'm thinking, because in terms of open play goals and assists, Willian really doesn't offer that much, really, if I'm completely honest. But other than that, I really like this team, and yeah, it's an interesting pick. I think you've got to allow everyone a punt each. I think Davey said in his video that Willian was a 1 week punt and he's going to swap him for to a different player, possibly a Manchester United player, I think. So as a 1 week punt, you've got to allow it, but I'm not convinced by Willian. But as a 1 week punt, fine, go for it. Have a little bit of fun, because that's what FPL's all about, and I'll give this a 9 out of 10 for a rating. So yeah, pretty impressed with this one as well. I do like this team quite a lot. Next is FPL Today. 4.5 million goalkeeper McCarthy. Standard, love it. Arnold, Vinagre. Arnold, it should be Alexander Arnold, as he's shortened his name. As I said before, not keen on Maddison, not keen on Saka. Ziyech, this is the first time I've seen Ziyech. I'm yet to be convinced by Ziyech. I think he could be great. Apparently he's the assist king, isn't he? That's what everyone's saying about him. But is he going to do it in the Premier League? He's obviously done it in the Netherlands, but it's a big step up, isn't it? And I don't know. I'd like to see a bit of Ziyech before I put him into my team, if I'm honest. But he could be a really good pick. But yeah, as you can see, there are a couple of holes there. So Saka and Maddison I don't like. Angus Gunn, who's actually 4.5 million, even though it says 4 million here. I don't think there's much point in having the two Southampton goalkeepers there, each at 4.5. I don't think there's going to be any rotation there. I think McCarthy just plays, so that seems a bit random. Che Adams I like. I mean, I've spoken so much about Che Adams. If you watch my videos before, you know I like the look of Adams. Generally speaking, though, I do quite like this team. There's just a few too many, not wild cards, too many punts, too many really risky players. So in terms of risky players, I'd say Ziyech, Saka, Maddison, Adams on the bench. All four of them are quite risky. So also there's quite a lot of money spent on the bench there, and I don't really think that's necessary to spend all that money on the bench. I think you sort of should have maybe 1 or 2 players who are sort of rock bottom. 4.5 million if they're a midfielder or a forward, 4 million if they're a defender. I know Ferguson's on the pitch, so perhaps he fills that void. But yeah, it seems like a little bit too much money spent on the bench, if you ask me, in terms of the goalkeeper being 4.5, Che Adams being 6. A little bit too much for me. I'd rather use that money to upgrade maybe Saka or change Maddison to someone else personally. So yeah, that's I'll give this team a 7 out of 10. So pretty good overall. But just a couple of things I'm not so keen on. Next up, oh god, I wasn't looking forward to doing this one, and I have to say, as far as I'm aware, as this is FPL Family's Sam Bonfield. Apparently this team was made in a little bit of a rush, but yeah, it's it's not great. It's really not great. So Ryan and goal, fine. Trent Alexander-Arnold, fine. Vinagre, Salah, Aubameyang, fine. But Bruno Fernandes, obviously he can't play, so that's 10.5 million wasted on your bench immediately, which I don't see why you would have that much money on the bench. You'll save yourself so many points by just spending an extra transfer and putting another player there who is going to get you a load of points. But who's coming in for Fernandes? None other than Jake Livermore of West Brom, which is just random, really. It's just random. I mean, you're bringing in a 4.5 million midfielder who is a central defensive midfielder in one of the worst teams in the league, to try and replace the points of Fernandes. If you think you can swap Fernandes for Son, and you think Son will get 6 points at minimum or something like that, and Livermore is going to get 2 points, let's be honest, maybe even 1 point if he gets a yellow card, you've already matched your points just by not playing Livermore and spending the extra transfer on swapping Son, in this example, for Fernandes next week. So I don't get it. Diop is just random. West Ham's fixtures don't look particularly good. And Diop, I know he's cheap, but it's just random. Like, he's an okay centre back. He's never really going to score more than the base 6 points for the clean sheet when he does get a clean sheet. West Ham are not a particularly good defensive side, or at least weren't last season. They conceded loads of goals, and they're probably going to concede loads of goals again. So that's sort of a bit random. And then, I don't know if this is temporary or what, but Harry Kane with the captaincy, I don't know. I just feel like when you've got Salah and Aubameyang there against Leeds at home and Fulham away, that's just too tantalising to pass up on. I don't know if I would ever stray away from Salah and Aubameyang this game week. And then finally, the final thing I don't like about this team, and I'm sorry there's so much I don't like about it, but it's Eric Peters on the bench. He's not playing. 2, his 2 games after when he does start playing aren't particularly good. And 3, Peters doesn't even play. The only reason he was sort of playing towards the back end of last season was because Charlie Taylor was injured at left back, so Peters was sort of filling in. I know he played a little bit further forward as well because there was so many injuries at Burnley, so that's why he was playing. So this season he's not going to be on the pitch sort of at all, and even if he could be on the pitch game week 1, which he can't. So yeah, there's so many holes in this team, and I'm so sorry. I have to give it a 4 out of 10. And the only reason I can even give it that much is because I like, Aubameyang, Salah, Alexander-Arnold. But that's even let down by the fact that Kane's captain. Oh, I know Sam will definitely change this. She had a blinder of a season last season. She'll definitely change this team. For Sam's sake, I hope she does, because it's not great. All right, let's move on. The final one, it's FPL Family's Lee. Which I like a little bit more. I do like it a little bit more. So, Ryan in goal, not cheap goalkeeper, Alexander-Arnold, Salah, Aubameyang. You notice any patterns here? So it's a pretty standard team, pretty template. Which, I mean, obviously is great. Template is template for a reason. It's because they're the best players. The concern, as I've mentioned before, Rashford on the bench, waste of money, waste of points for my personal ideas on strategy. Anyway, I'd rather spend the extra transfer trying to get Rashford in next week than have him on the bench in the off. But in this scenario, I don't think it's as bad as some of the others I've seen. Just because, although Rashford is on the bench, the money in the rest of the team has been used sensibly, so you can still create a very good starting 11 without having to spend all of your money and leaving a little bit of your money on the bench. So yeah, double Liverpool defence, which we're not seeing very often, which could be really, really beneficial, particularly against Leeds. You reckon Liverpool could very easily keep a clean sheet against Leeds, so that's double points there. Liverpool's fixtures aren't actually amazing, so I don't know if I'm fully convinced by it. But I mean, Liverpool keep a lot of clean sheets, so you could really, really be rewarded for that. Saliba, I'm not 100% convinced if he's going to start or not. He started in the friendly against Milton Keynes Dons, so that's looking pretty good. And then Mount, I guess, I don't know, is Mount going to be playing? Sort of, Chelsea have so many attacking players now. Is Mount going to be the one to be rotated? I would suspect Mount will be rotated far more than he was last season, and even towards the end of last season, he wasn't really picking up too many points. So, not fully convinced. Soucek, absolutely, I love. I know there was a lot of hype at the beginning. Everyone was putting Soucek in their team, but sort of Soucek has sort of found his way out of a lot of teams, which is interesting. But Soucek is having a fabulous pre-season. He had a fantastic end to last season. He's really proven in terms of scoring goals, despite the fact that he's supposedly a defensive midfielder, just because he's always getting touches in the box and attacking the box of his opposition. So really, really nice pick, and fair play to Lee for sticking through going through all of the noise where everyone's taking Soucek out for other options and keeping Soucek in I sort of wish I had that fortitude. I know West Ham's fixtures aren't great, but yeah, I would probably quite like Souček in my team, and I might have to rethink it having seen this. So do kind of like that, but I mean, just the fact that Rashford is on the bench, I can't give this team full marks because that's not what I would like to do personally, and this is about my personal opinion. I can only go by my personal opinion. So I guess I give this a 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5 out of 10, because it is a good team, a really good team. But it just seems like a little bit of a waste having Rashford on the bench there. But there you go. So those are all the teams, but I did want to quickly go through what are the similarities in the team. So there are 4 players, you might have already picked up on this already, but there are 4 players that were in every single one of those teams. So perhaps essential. I mean, all 4 of these players, coincidentally, are also in my draft. So yeah, perhaps these are the players, the must-have players for the start of this season. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, 7 out of 7 teams. Salah was in 7 out of 7 teams. Aubameyang was in 7 out of 7 teams. And Vinagre was in 7 out of 7 teams. A fantastic way, a cheap way into the Wolves' defence. Good fixtures, good defensive team. Mitrovic was in 6 out of 7 teams, so pretty high ownership there as well. Ferguson, 5 out of 7 teams. I know he's injured now, so perhaps some people will be taking Ferguson out, but I'm going to be sticking with Ferguson personally, even though he's injured, and just leave him on the bench. Timo Werner, the new Chelsea striker, 4 out of 7 teams, so a lot of confidence in Werner as well. Again, I've got him on my team, so I do like the look of him. Could, if he gets out the blocks, fit and firing, then yeah, that's going to be a really good player to have. So worth taking a little punt on him. He's proven. So, and then Alan Saint-Maximin's in 3 out of 7 teams. I think a lot of people are putting him in their team, to be fair. James Justin, 3 out of 7 teams. I do like James Justin, particularly now that Chilwell has left. He could be filling in at left back, even if he's not filling in at right back now that Pereira is injured, for at least for a good few weeks. And then in goal, 6 out of 7 teams went for either Ryan or McCarthy, the two 4.5 million goalkeepers. Davey FPL is the only guy who has gone for a different keeper in Ramsdale. Everyone else went for Ryan or McCarthy in goal, so 3 out of 7 for each of those in those teams. So there you have it. A very, very long video analysing very, very many teams. I hope you didn't get too bored by it. Hopefully this was interesting or useful or something like that. And if any of you are watching this and you're a YouTuber whose team I just rated, then yeah, I'm so sorry if what I said you didn't like. I'm sure you're making changes constantly. I'm sure you know this is just your first draft, and this is just my opinion, and your opinion is probably worth more than mine. So yeah, so there you have it. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, just for all of the for when Sam Bonfield finds this video and gives it a big thumbs down, we can sort of counteract that with a thumbs up. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for plenty more FPL videos. Hopefully I can give you some tips and pick out some players and stuff, and help you and show you my team and stuff to help you do really well in your mini leagues. You know, push up the mini leagues, go compete for them, push up your overall ranking and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully I can really help you there. So do stick around if you're into FPL videos, because I've got loads of them. Plenty more in my backlog as well. If you want to check out some more FPL videos, I've got so many on my channel that are still very relevant now. All of them I've made. But yeah, this video is going on for far too long, so I'll say right now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.